Day 2 of the TJ automated review system, putting out videos while TJ is away at MetroCon, and while TJ is away, the AI shall play, cause we're reviewing things he really doesn't like reviewing, such as Sentai Mecha, because they are big and cumbersome and hard to get into camera frame, and it's a rabbit hole of reviewing he really doesn't want to go down. Let's jump in, shall we? This is Ryu Voyager from Kyuranger, which he has been buying a lot of Kyuranger toys, as you are about to see. This is the 9th mecha, or 10th mecha of the series, and the second large size one. By large, I mean way larger than the Shishi Voyager that is the main core of the main mecha. This thing is gigantic. At about 25-26 inches long, it is an enormous toy in dragon mode. From tip to nose, absolutely huge. Very, very difficult to get the whole thing into camera frame. In fact, I really can't. Need fisheye lens. Up front, massive gold dragon head, big silver jaw. Jaw does open, as you can see, so you have that, and the big sunken in eyes there. Very menacing, very impressive, very cool. So, looking through the whole length, you can see molded details all over. Aside from dragon scales, you've got all kinds of emblems, little suns of various kinds there. You got another one there. So you got some interesting design elements going in, along with, the things you would expect out of a mechanized dragon. What I like about the toy is that very little of the color scheme comes from paint. You can see a little bit here on the tip of the tail, and a little bit here, The eyes are painted, of course, and the dragon claws here. You can see the gold and silver details there at the bottom. For the most part, it's letting plastic do the work for it. All the purple is plastic. This silver is. So is this. This is an inlaid piece of silver plastic. That black, that's plastic. That black is paint to match. It's doing a very, very good job of actually using the plastic to its advantage. So it's not all, going into paint budget, which is not a bad thing. In the claws, it holds the Ryu Kyutama, which pops out like so, and works just like any regular old Kyutama you'd expect. Does the Mawa slide thing, where it completes the look of the constellation. Number 10, as you can see by the holographic sticker. It doesn't do anything that special in the actual the Seiza changer, the Seiza blaster, I apologize. Yeah, it's pretty much what you would expect. So, not a huge surprise there, and not a lot of sound worth demonstrating. Mostly because I don't have it available right now. But we're focused on the functions of the actual toy itself. Now, if you want articulation, well, it's a Sentai toy, so what do you expect? He does have a little bit of twisting he can do, thanks to his engineering for transformation. And you can kind of bend him around if you want. But it's not like a Serpentera thing where you can get him to like a fully upright and standing position. What can you do? Well, for starters, we can actually transform this guy and see what this massive dragon actually becomes and hopefully get him back on the shelf. My arm's getting tired. So we're going to remove the helmet and reveal a completely different dragon face that's actually sculpted underneath the dragon face. And this one much more menacing, much more organic, with a lot of more natural looking scales, teeth, even some fins across the side of the head. Kind of interesting. So, flip that one up, come down to the tail, flip that up like so, and then divide the whole body down the center. Now, legs rotate this way, like so. Click everything together. Arms rotate up like so. Rotate it to the front so we can flip the head out. Jaw opens very wide, so you can actually fit the helmet on. And now, we can go ahead and place the proper Kyutama. We need some arms. Well, luckily for me, I do happen to have his default arms available here, so go ahead and attach them. There's Kuma, Voyager, and then Sasori right there. And that gives us our big combined mecha, Ryuteo, our second mecha of Kyuranger. Huge, menacing, with a big, big, silly hat. See if I can actually get a close-up of that. The light's not great here because, yeah, I have to have it very far back in order to properly display. is got a very tiny head inside a huge, huge helmet. He looks like he really wanted to cosplay Greymon, and unfortunately, only one size helmet in stock that day. So it unfortunately does not work out too well for him. But we'll overlook that and we'll look over the features itself. The silver, the big backpack thing on the dragon that didn't seem to be anything really, now forming two very menacing shoulders. I like how the dragon scales poke out through the sides, giving him a little bit of menace across. It's a nice design element, and you can see the scales going up and down both sides of his thighs. It's also going down his legs as well. If you see downward there, upward here, which actually matches. So one thing that Kyuranger does subtly is it creates a very slight amount of asymmetry in its designs, little stripes and little paint details that are different from one side to the other. Here it's full-on sculpting detail for those fins, and you can see doesn't do too bad of a job. So I like how all of the silver has gone to the arms and the purple has been kind of designated to the center. It's a good use of color, and what I really couldn't tell like in dragon mode that those colors would come together that way, so especially in the black too. So it does a good job of hiding what its intent for all of it is going to be. The only weirdness to the sculpting itself, aside from tiny detail, is the fact that the feet are asymmetrical, since you've got one comprised of the tail and one comprised of a dragon head. But hey, at least it works. So as you note, as we transformed it, unlike the main mecha, absolutely no sound effects because there's no sound box in this toy, no battery whatsoever, not even a light or anything, which is kind of unfortunate because these Qtama, just like all the others, are designed with a little bit of a it's very hard to see here. I can't really figure out how to demo it unless, there we go. I've got lights here. So if the light did shine through, you'd be able to see the Ranger in the cockpit, which is a cool touch. But that would only work if we plugged him into the main Zord. No lights here, which seems unfortunate because he does have unique noises, but as far as I'm aware, they are confined strictly to his weapon toy, which is something of a disappointment. But beyond that, you have what you would expect out of Sentai. Only 2 points of articulation at the shoulders. They're big, heavy ratchets. That's good. They only go to a 45-degree motion. That's not so good. And just like any other Sentai toy or mecha or anything, you can, in this case, it does have all the play value you'd expect out of a Kyuranger toy, as you can go ahead and swap in pretty much any of the other Voyagers in order to create whatever combination you want. He's a little bit more limited since, of course, he can only swap in arms, but at least the gimmick is there. So it's fun to come up with different combinations yourself, especially if you have the larger toy in order to make a few more. So let's actually go into that since we're mostly there already. I'm going to go ahead and remove his helmet and spin the head back around. Take this and keep this off to the side for now. And we need to bring in another big guy. There we go, Kureno. So I just now realized I actually have the cockpit versions of the Qtamas in right now, which doesn't matter. Okay, so now we go in Kuma Voyager, goes back to the right arm, back to the left arm with Sasori. And from there, well, here's the other disappointing part of the toy. So in order to combine, we're going to raise that, and then he needs to go up on tippy toes. Fold those down, then line up these pegs and these pegs to the clips on the back of Shishi Voyager, which should look something. Come on. You got it, come on. Like that. All right. And click in there. That should just barely fit, and then come in and plug the dragon head on like so. Cover. Hard to do this one-handed, I just realized, because I need to peg these things in. Hang on. Should have just done this from the start. There we go. There we go. And there is your full combined cluster of a super version of this of Q Ranger's mecha, the aptly named Ryutei Kyuren O. What else are you gonna call it? Well, you can call it something of a mess because there's a lot of color and a lot of detail going on in this big guy now. He's kind of got a Super Zeo Megazord thing where Ryuteo pretty much just makes a giant weapon pack on the back overhanging the shoulders. That's really all you got. Now, I can adjust a few parts and maybe make it look a little bit more, I don't know, natural. But it is kind of unfortunate for such a huge toy. You know, I was kind of expecting something that was, I don't know, a little bit more flashy than just becoming Kureno's backpack. That's a little bit unfortunate. And in spite of being combined like this, no new sound effects unlocked, no new lights unlocked. They don't really interact, even though the electronics are Kureno's bread and butter as far as gimmicks go. And yeah, big dragon head in the front is just as silly on the front of Kureno as it is on top of Ryuteo's head. That said, it's still not a bad combination. I've seen far worse, let's put it that way. I've seen much worse out of Super Sentai. But at least here, all the parts are in play. You've got a ton of Voyagers being used at the same time. And it actually does mean that Ryu Voyager himself gets to be a lot more solid since he doesn't have to worry about breaking down into anything else. I would like to see a little bit more combination, a little bit more interplay, because this also kind of just looks like one is standing behind the other. So maybe a little bit disappointing, but hey, at least it's that big. So that is Ryu Voyager. In a nutshell, he's not a bad toy in and of himself. I mean, it's an absolutely massive Sentai mecha in Dragon mode, and he does make a nice additional mecha for a couple more of your Voyagers to have a place to hang out with. And I'm still waiting for something that my other three can actually use, so I can, not have them just kind of stray and doing nothing. Poor Washi Voyager doesn't even have a robot mode to stand around in. So, that is what Sentai Robos are like these days, just in case you were wondering.